Season 2 is coming at breakneck speed. Epic keeps dropping teasers in absolute bunches, and from the looks of it, total chaos is about to hit the island. We are talking massive map changes, fresh battle pass drops, and lore that is going to completely flip this entire chapter upside down. Over the last few weeks, the live events have totally turned the storyline upside down compared to what Fortnite used to be. With the visitor touching down on the Chapter 7 island, Phase 2 of the storyline has officially kicked off. Right out of the gate, the visitor got straight to business. And honestly, the funniest part is that he does not sugarcoat a single thing. He straight up calls everyone fools for thinking it was a good idea to just leave the 0 point unattended. And he is right. He did not just bring a rocket with him either. Somehow, he found Amy and shoved her right into his ship's onboard computer. Though, to be real with you, it is probably not our Amy. Since the visitor is from an alternate reality, Amy probably is too. So for now, it is a sick cameo, but nothing more. From what I am gathering, Order, Jones, and Hope are sitting tight, waiting for someone else to answer their SOS. Meanwhile, Order went totally off the grid to dig up some dirt on the Voyager. And honestly, it paid off big time. She managed to intercept a seriously juicy message. Turns out, the Voyager has someone covering his back, and Cubehead promised this boss that he would not drop the ball. What exactly is he not dropping the ball on? That is the million-dollar question right now. But the sheer fact that the Voyager answers to someone else changes the whole ballgame. It means he is not the big bad, just a henchman. And whoever is calling the shots could be way more dangerous. While we are racking our brains trying to figure out who is pulling the strings, the Voyager is not just sitting on his hands. He clearly does not have time to worry about the visitor right now, because he is about to secure the 4th 0 point shard. With 4 shards, he will have enough juice to power up the 0 point core. When that happens, reality rifts are going to tear open all over the island, which is exactly how the Voyager plans to get his hands on the remaining fragments. The crazy part is that the clues for this plan have been staring us in the face since the very start of the season. Remember that Voyager loading screen? Back then, we were scratching our heads, wondering what those locations were and why Cubehead was watching them like a hawk. Well, it looks like that map was literally marking the 0 gates, where the rest of the 0 point shards are hiding. Sure, the locations do not line up absolutely perfectly, but I would bet my bottom V-Bucks Epic planned it exactly like this. Based on what we know, all of this is laying the groundwork for a massive mini live event at the end of the season. Think back to Chapter 2 Season 5, when Jonesy went crazy with the portals and dragged every hunter he could find onto the island, which basically sent the 0 point into a total meltdown. We might be looking at a similar portal situation to transition us into Season 2. Except this time, Jonesy is not the one running the show. It is the Dark Voyager taking orders from his mystery boss. At the same time, Fortnite just dropped the very first teaser for Season 2 online. It showed off a winter biome with a 0 point shard floating in the air, and Order reaching out to it. But the real kicker here is that this is not just some random snowy area, it is the actual Ice King Castle. We do not know yet if this castle is parked on the Ice Moon or chilling in a totally different reality. We will find out super soon when Season 2 drops, since the 0 gate on the north side of the island is going to lead straight to it. It is wild because they actually teased that the Ice King had a 0 point shard a while ago. During the teaser for the Ice Storm event back in the OG season, if you squinted real hard, you could spot a blurry, pulsing 0 point shard at the bottom. From now on, we gotta analyze every single short Fortnite posts like we are the FBI. I am guessing that when the new season launches, these portals are going to bring us at least 3 brand new locations, up north, out west, and down southeast. That means the north is getting the Ice King Castle, which is giving serious Polar Peak vibes from Chapter 1. It might even be a modernized version of it, and it is totally possible that each of these new spots will have a brand new boss guarding a 0 point shard. A couple of months ago, leaks actually surfaced saying the Ice King would be a boss we could morph into. Now, all the puzzle pieces are finally snapping together. That just leaves the mystery of the Voyager. Who exactly is the head honcho of a guy flying around in a last reality ship with a cube on his head? I narrowed it down to 3 top suspects. Suspect number 1, and the most obvious pick, is the Nothing. If Cubehead is working for the glory of the last reality, then his boss has to be the leader of that whole cosmic gang. Makes sense. But let us be real, that would be way too predictable and honestly a little boring. So I doubt it goes down like that. Suspect number 2 is a total curveball. Remember, the Cube Queen and the Origin are not just enemies, they have serious history. The Origin is not just a member of the Seven, he is the former Cube King. What if, theoretically, after the Seven fell apart, the last reality fixed the Origin up? Epic actually has concept art of the Origin rocking his Cube King look, and this would be the perfect time to drop it in-game. Plus, imagine the drama. Order and the Visitor run into their old buddy, and suddenly realize he is the mastermind behind the whole thing. Suspect number 3. What if the Dark Voyager has been sabotaging the last reality this entire time, and is actually working for the one guy who knows literally everything about the 0 point? I am talking about Gino. Think about it. How else does the Voyager know so much about how the 0 point works, how to put it back together, and how to harness its power? Even the Cube Queen and the Herald, who were direct messengers of the Nothing, did not have that kind of inside info. They just smashed through everything like a wrecking ball. But the Voyager operates completely differently, like someone gave him a masterclass. Let me remind you, the Voyager has traveled through thousands of realities, and Gino, as we know from the comic books, never actually died. He got atomized and basically started putting himself back together immediately. So, it is entirely possible that the guy everyone wrote off as dead is very much alive and pulling the strings. Only time will tell which of these theories hits the bullseye. But one thing is for sure, we have a ton of hype content coming our way, because the original storyline and that classic Fortnite energy are finally back. I am betting we get more Season 2 teasers any day now, showing off new locations, new items, or maybe even the Battle Pass. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and drop into the loop so you do not miss a thing. Honestly, trying to piece together the Season 2 lore is not totally impossible anymore, and based on how things are heating up, I already have a few more theories brewing up next. I've talked before about my theory around the Dark Voyager and where his story could be heading, but now it's time to zoom out and connect the dots. Because if the clues are pointing where I think they are, we're about to crash straight into a reality filled with Norse gods, ancient rituals, and something much bigger than anything we've dealt with lately. Before we can predict the full storyline of Season 2, we need to understand how the current season, Pacific Break, is likely to wrap up. At this point, I'm almost sure we're getting an event. Maybe not a massive end of chapter spectacle, but at least something on the level of a mini-event, similar to the Chapter 5 Season 1 Pandora's Box moment. A quiet ending just wouldn't fit the pace we're seeing. Look at how fast the Dark Voyager plot has moved. In just a short time, he's gone from hovering over the island to focusing on the 0 point shard, opening a rift, disappearing, and reshaping the lab area. That is a lot of major story movement in a tight window. When you compare that tempo to the Cube Queen storyline, it becomes obvious that Fortnite is building the same level of danger in far less time. And when Fortnite accelerates the narrative like this, it usually means one thing: a climax is coming. The story isn't going to just fade out. I think the final event will mirror the structure of the Chapter 5 Season 1 finale, but with a completely different purpose. This time, the Dark Voyager's focus will be the 0 point shards, and I believe his disappearance wasn't random at all. Fortnite has been showing us that he's more than a villain with a spaceship. He's a voyager between realities, and his mission is to gather the 0 point fragments scattered across different worlds and fuse them back together. Leaks have been hinting that the rifts tied to this storyline aren't all the same. The realities inside them have different colors, and there are 4 in total. To me, that feels like intentional foreshadowing. Each color likely represents a different reality, and each reality could set the tone for what comes next. Not just one season, but the roadmap for several seasons ahead. So why would he do any of this? The most likely answer is that he's doing it in the name of the last reality. And honestly, I don't think there's any doubt we'll see the last reality return in this chapter. Skins Survey have already been circulating that show crown wearing characters who visually echo the Cube Queen, but with a totally different design language. One of them looks chaotic and even has chrome-like elements, which feels less like coincidence and more like a warning. New rulers are coming, and they might not be alone. That also explains the Dark Voyager's behavior. He doesn't feel like someone improvising. He feels like someone following a plan, step by step. building toward a moment where multiple forces finally collide. In the event itself, I imagine we launch an assault on the Dark Voyager's ship. The objective would be to push into the core control area and shut the portal down from the inside. And yes, I think we'll succeed, at least on the surface. The portal will be closed, and the Dark Voyager will be forced back. But the celebration won't last, because by the time we shut it down, it'll already be too late. The rift will have done its job. Something from the other side will have made it through, and that's where the story takes a hard left. The guests that arrives won't be another variation of cubes. It'll be something mythic and something aggressive. A force tied to Norse mythology. The gods will seize key locations across the island and start imposing their own order before anyone can stop them. At first, the idea of Fortnite tying this to Norse gods might sound wild, but it becomes a lot more believable when you remember how Fortnite has been blending realities lately. We've already seen objects and threats cross between chapters in ways that prove the boundaries are thinner than they used to be. If the red cube can echo across timelines and appear again later, then an invasion that connects to the Ice King's past and older mythic power is not only possible, it's the kind of twist Fortnite would absolutely lean into. On top of that, the community has been hearing about a Norse-inspired season for a long time. And while leaks are never perfect, some of the same leak waves that mentioned this also correctly called other major story beats. So even if you take it with caution, you can't just dismiss it. The map itself also feels like it's whispering the same message. Certain terrain choices look like callbacks to older chapters, and some details feel placed on purpose. The giant bear tracks are a great example. On their own, they could just be set dressing. But in Norse mythology, bears are symbolic. They represent strength, warrior spirit, and primal power. When you combine those hints with the leak trail and the current storyline direction, it starts to feel less like random decoration and more like setup. Once the gods arrive, that's when Season 2's real story begins. They won't just show up and stand around like background characters. They'll take over, reshape the island's power structure, and prepare for the arrival of something even darker, the Nothing. And unlike past myth-themed seasons where the villains sometimes felt passive, this time the antagonists will move like conquerors. Odin and Thor won't be portrayed as heroic legends. They'll be invaders, working toward a goal that serves a larger and more sinister force. We'll fight back, of course. Jonesy and Hope will be at the center of that resistance, and we'll likely get a major early season battle where we try to stop the gods head-on. And we'll lose. That loss matters. Fortnite stories work best when the heroes get humbled first, because it raises the stakes and forces new alliances. The turning point will come around mid-season, when bigger names enter the picture. I think Kratos returns, and I also think Midas comes back. Fortnite loves its cycles, and Midas showing up during key Season 2 moments has basically become a pattern. If the island is facing god-level enemies, then bringing back characters with mythic connections and strategic influence makes perfect sense. Then comes the move that pushes everything toward the finale. Odin brings the Ice King onto the god's side. Whether it happens through manipulation, promises, or a bargain, it lines up with older leaks, suggesting the Ice King was always meant to be more important than what we've seen so far. As the season nears its end, the truth becomes unavoidable. Odin and Thor are building a portal designed to summon the entity they serve, the being we know as the Nothing. But the story doesn't end with them winning, because the real twist is the Ice King. The heart of the narrative becomes his decision. At some point, he realizes he's being used. He understands that serving the Nothing isn't just another war or another conquest. It's the end of everything, and he refuses to be part of that. During the summoning, right as the portal begins to open, the Ice King takes control. He redirects the portal, forcing Odin and Thor back into their own reality. And with the full force of his power, he seals them away, trapping them in an ice prison that they can't break out of. He saves the island, but it costs him everything. Even after covering the whole OG island in snow, the Ice King isn't done yet. Interestingly, Fortnite's Love and Legends roadmap features a frozen heart marked next. This likely hints at an expanded Ice King storyline, and even more freezing. With the Fortnite OG and main Battle Royale playlists icons continuing to freeze over, it's all but confirmed. Chapter 7. Season 2 will focus on Norse mythology. The latest updates shed light on everything. Watch closely, because recent events have only confirmed our suspicions. The Zero Point Shard and our arrival on the Golden Coast were definitely not a coincidence. As it turns out, Chapter 7 is currently orchestrating a complex narrative trifecta that unfolds simultaneously across the island, beginning with the direct continuation of the lore surrounding the Zero Point Shard. This specific storyline originated in Chapter 6, and following the cataclysmic final event, transported us to this new island, where we have encountered both an ancient rival and a community of islanders currently in the midst of filming a motion picture that is on the verge of its theatrical debut. We will likely experience another mini-event centered on the movie Pelions. This film, directed by Kingston, has been in production since Jones and his friends arrived on the island and ruined a scene. Currently, when speaking with NPCs, they warn us that the movie is about to premiere, which is why one of the weekly quests involved placing newspapers to help promote the release. If my theory is correct, this premiere should occur in a separate mode, similar to the Kill Bill collaboration. If confirmed, we could see a short film of several minutes featuring alien bananas, something I am sincerely looking forward to. I hope Fortnite does not disappoint, as the lore and the season fundamentally revolve around this movie. It is unlikely to win an Academy Award, though these in-game references are surely a nod to the Oscars taking place on March 16th, even if I doubt the game will replicate the gala itself. By those dates, we're gonna come to the conclusion of the current season, and with any luck, the battle against the Dark Voyager. Stay very attentive to the story videos this year, because you must realize that Chapter 7 will likely present the conclusion of the Zero Point storyline and its shards. These arcs will likely be completed in this very chapter, and if we were all blown away by the 0 Hour event, 2026 is shaping up to deliver a cinematic closure to this grand history of the Zero Point.